Alright guys, so this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create your first levitation photo. So remember, for this levitation photo you're first going to need one photo that is just of the background, and you're going to need another photo that has the background and the item. The big important step in this is making sure that the camera doesn't move, so using your tripod to stabilize your camera in one position so that you're taking the background, two photos with the exact same background without it moving at all. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second about that. First step, make sure that your SD card is plugged in. Once your SD card is in, go ahead and go up to File, Scripts, and load files into stacks. Once that's opened up, go ahead and browse to find which photos you want. In order to find your photos, first find your SD card. Click on the first folder. Your second set of folders is going to be whatever camera you used. You guys are going to be using the Nikon D3200. I was using the Nikon D60 when I shot this, so I'm going to open it up with that. The next step is finding your photos. So as I was explaining earlier, you're going to want two separate photos. So the first photo that you're going to want is going to have the item with the object with the thing that's holding the object, with the background. The second photo you're going to take without moving the camera. So it's going to have the exact same background. It's just going to be without the item and the thing holding it. So if you take a look at these backgrounds, the exact same background. The camera hasn't moved, hasn't zoomed in anymore. The only difference is that the hand and the object is not in the picture. So I'm going to need to open both of these. So remember to select one of them, hold down Shift, select the next one you need, and then you can click Open. Just in case your camera zoomed in a little bit to focus, it might zoom in just a tiny bit on focus. Go ahead and click this box that says Attempt to automatically align source images. That's just going to make it so that the backgrounds will kind of line up as much as possible. And once you've done that, go ahead and click OK. Alright, so what this has done now is it's giving me two layers. The first layer here has the item, has the object that's holding the item, and the background. If we close this one down, you'll notice that the background doesn't move at all. It comes back in focus, but doesn't move at all. The camera didn't move. It's the exact same spot, which is going to make this project much easier for me to do right now. So once you have both photos, you have your background and your main image. Go ahead, go down to the bottom right corner where there's the little white square with the black dot in the middle. That's going to be your adding mask tool, layer mask tool. So first thing you're going to want to do before clicking on that is make sure you're on your top layer. Your top layer needs to be the layer with the item in it, because you're going to be erasing the thing that's holding your item. For instance, I'm going to be erasing my arm and the hand. So make sure that's your top layer. If it's not your top layer, like mine isn't right now, you can just click on it, drag it up to the top, and it'll be your top layer. Make sure it's highlighted. It'll be highlighted if it's that light gray color, just like mine is. Once it is, go ahead and click Add Layer Mask. So what the layer mask is going to do is it's going to allow us to erase this arm without affecting the background at all, because the background is our second layer. So it's going to erase whatever's on the top layer, and it's going to allow that second layer to bleed through. Since our second layer is already the exact same background, it's going to allow us to erase this hand right here and see the background, and making it look like this remote here is floating. So once you've got this little white box, go ahead and go to your color palette. You're going to want to make sure that you're on your paintbrush tool, which is this little paintbrush to the left hand side. Once you're on your paintbrush tool, make sure that your color selection's on black. When you're on your mask tool, having black color with your paintbrush is going to be an eraser. So what you're going to do then is just slowly start erasing piece by piece just like we did in the past, make sure you're just going slowly. Don't try and do too much at once, because if you do too much at once and you mess up, if I accidentally go in here and I've done too much, I can click Command Z and it'll go back. But if I've done too much, I won't be able to go back and it'll erase everything. Use the bigger brush size to erase bigger chunks. You can change your brush size on the upper left corner right here by just clicking on the arrow and moving this back and forth. You can also select different types of brushes, but for right now we just need this hard round one, which will work just fine. Once you start getting closer, use the smaller ones to erase, and just making sure you're keeping everything in detail. One other factor I want you guys to look at is one of my pictures was blurry and the other was in focus. So once I cut out this remote here, I'm going to kind of make sure everything's back in focus, just like my background was. So I'm just going to do this quickly. Still a little bit there, but we'll just leave that for this time's sake. Alright, so since I've got it kind of close enough for this one, since it's just a tutorial, I don't want to keep you guys watching. I'm just going to get a bigger brush. And I'm going to erase everything so that I get a clear, crisp background. Alright, and that is the tutorial. So if you have any other questions, just make sure you're raising your hand. And then I will just show you how to save the image when you guys are done. So I did just accidentally erase some of my remote, but we'll just leave that for now. What I'm going to show you is how to erase or to save your image. So first thing is you're going to want to select both of these. To select both of these, click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the second one. You're going to want to right click on one of the layers and then go to Flatten Image. And that's going to put both of those together. Once they're flattened, meaning you're not going to be able to edit it anymore, it's going to, even if I try and erase, it'll just go back to the black paintbrush. Go to File, Export, Export As. And once this window pops up, I want you guys to change the format to JPG. Export. It's going to ask you to save. Make sure you're saving it in your folder on your desktop. Save it to whatever you would like. Hit save and then submit it to Google Classroom. When you're submitting it to Google Classroom, make sure you're turning in the unedited version and the edited version so that we can compare later. Other than that, make sure you're raising your hand if you have any other questions.